So I received a free lawnmower. The owner didn't want it moved and just discarded his lawnmower. It was in a backyard full of leaves and so forth. It's a Toro, guaranteed to start, 6.7 horsepower, and it looks like it uses the Kohler engine. So after I got the lawnmower, I checked the oil level. The oil is fine. I'm gonna put in some gas real quick. Oh, looks like gas is dripping a little bit. So it looks like gasoline is, first of all, just keep on dripping. So there's one issue right there. So it looks like it's just like drowning the carburetor. It's just a lot of gasoline just coming out of the carburetor. I guess the first step, what I'm going to do is take out this air filter cover and then look at the carburetor. But before I do that, so let's identify a couple of things on here real quick. This is a Toro Toro lawnmower that uses a Kohler engine. So there's two things. So at the back of the lawnmower shows the model number, actually the spec number. Looks like it was made in 2011. Next thing is, if you open up the flap behind the lawnmower, you can see that this is a 2370 lawnmower. Since this is a Toro lawnmower, I went to Toro.com, found a lawnmower right here to 2037, and if you click on parts and manuals, it goes to this next page. You can type in the model number. Of course, you match your serial number, and then there's more documents after that. So here's some of the documents right here. Manuals, under manuals, right there. So I've downloaded a couple of them. The engine is Kohler engine, and this is the XT series. So when I click on find manuals, you can see that here is the XT 6.75 or XT 675. They're both the same manual, and I've already downloaded all of them too. So I'm going to take off this hose and this hose. There's no clamp on it, you just pull it right off. So first let's remove the linkage, and you can rotate and then this top one should just come out. There we go. So it looks like there's this lever and then linkage right here, and in order to take it out, I think I have to take off this frame right here. Okay, once that's loose, okay, there we go. Okay, so what I found out is if I turn this counterclockwise, there we go. So that came out. This gasoline hose right here is still what's holding it back. So let's try to. Okay, now I'm pretty sure I can back off the carburetor. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to blow off all the dust around it. Next, I'm going to drain the carburetor bowl right here from the nut that's underneath it. So here's the carburetor. Let's start taking it apart. So let's open up the bowl. There's some gunk on the bottom, but overall it's actually pretty good condition. Let's put this aside. Let's next. So earlier I removed this hose. Let's just go ahead and the linkage that dropped off. Should have took that off earlier anyway. Let's go ahead and remove this clip. So here we go. Alright, so now I have, there's a gasket at the back. Let's take that out if I can, or if it wants to. So I got the gasket off. Here's the float. By removing this pin. So for some reason the needle is quite stuck. That needle right there. So this is very unusual. Usually the needle just comes right out so you can take out the bowl. The needle is stuck, which makes sense why the carburetor just keeps on spilling out gasoline. I think what I'm going to try first is just take some engine starting fluid and spray it at the needle. Try to see if I can dissolve anything that's behind it. Let it sit for a while. So later on I just use this needle head and I just start wiggling this back and forth, and I finally was able to get the needle loose. Now as you can tell, let's remove the needle from the bowl and watch out to don't lose that spring. That is amazingly dirty. So what I'm going to do next is take out the jet down here. So I just took a picture showing how dirty that jet is, and all I'm doing is I'm taking a flathead screwdriver and I'm going to carefully loosen it out, and I can feel a lot of resistance. It took a little bit of strength to get it going. Again, I think it's because it's just really dirty. Okay, I used a flathead and I backed out the jet, and let's see if the jet comes out or not. Wow, there's all that black stuff that's coming out of it. There we go. Oh my goodness, that is quite dirty. I should use a rebuild kit because the needle is just so dirty and so forth, but I don't have that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take starting fluid and I'm going to spray in here, clean up that, clean up the jet, clean up that passage right there, and then clean up the needle, just clean up the bowl, just clean out everything inside of here as much as I can. Use a brush. I have some gasoline in here. This bowl is clean now, as much as it can be. Next, let's clean out the jet again, just like before. Just brush it. Now I can actually see through. Let's clean the needle. The needle's actually pretty dirty. Can't believe how dirty it got. So if I got the needle cleaned, so now I want to just spray through all the passages right here. Use compressed air and just spray through all of it. So let's assemble this all back together again. First, let's put the nozzle back in there. Even though I cleaned it earlier, It's nice to just take a piece of electric wire and just poke through the passages one last time. I've already done that, so let's put this in. The long skinny side goes in first, and the flat head goes on top, so let's drop that in. After that's in, let's put in the jet. The flat head goes up, of course. Now let's screw it in, back in. Next, let's put the needle and the spring. And then the float. One thing about the float is that you do want to inspect it to make sure that there's no puncture, there's no gasoline or water in it. This float is still in pretty good condition. And as you can see, that the spring is right behind there on the float. And that can slide right back in. And after that's in, let's put the pin inside. There we go. And right now, as you can see at the float, the floating pin actually moves up and down freely. Now let's put the gasket around here. And this gasket is very worn out. Again, because I don't have a rebuilt kit, so this will just do for now. Now I want the orientation of it. So that's facing, let's see, probably this direction. So that's, if I want to loosen up the nut on the side to drain out the gasoline for to store it in the winter, it's easier to do so. Alright, tighten this up. Okay, there you go. Next is to put in this hose. Looks like, and I've already cleaned the hose once. Just slides right in. There's no cracks on it, so this hose is still pretty good. So the next step is to put the carburetor back on. There's also this linkage. Alright. And this linkage slides back into here. There we go. Okay, so far so good. I guess let's go ahead and tighten that down. Okay, let's plug in the fuel line. And the fuel line is getting old. I need to probably replace that sooner or later. Okay, now we can put on this cover. Before we do that, let's plug in the hose. So there's this one. Just plug that in. Just a second when it goes up here. Well, before we plug that one in, I guess we can go ahead and put in the screw. So as I was recording, I didn't even notice that I ran out of memory. So basically what I did next was I just tightened up these three bolts right here and plugged back in this hose. I just now filled up it with gas, and I was about to try to see if it works or not. So the good thing is that at least it's not leaking gasoline anymore after I poured gas into it. So that's a great sign. At least the float works. pretty cool. It starts on the first pull. So all in all, it was the carburetor that had issues. I'm going to put this all back together and try to self-propel and see if that works. But thanks for watching.